Hello, my friend, Stephanie Barnard for Sizzix, and I'm at Scrapbook.com. I'm so excited to share this card with you today because we're taking a die that was usually designed, well, I designed it for a special project, but we're using it in a different way. So we're getting more value for our buck, which is really exciting. I can't wait to share it with you. Stay tuned. Now, to create this card, we're going to do something a little different. Now, normally this You Are Loved would be a pop-up card on the inside of your card. And this is a little sample of what it would look like. This is my packaging from home. I brought my own. But you can see that the You Are Loved is supposed to be a 3D pop-up. But we're going to change that ever so slightly to make that the front of our card, which is really fun. Now we're going to use a couple other products. We're also going to be using this framelit drop-in set that I designed for Sizzix. And this is a fun set. It's a drop-in set also. Notice on this packaging we have the swirls. Well, here we have the hearts. Now, how did we do that, right? Well, it's mix and match. There's other options in this kit, so you don't have to do the swirls. We're gonna do the hearts instead, which is really fun. Now, lastly, we are also gonna use this heart step-up card that I designed for Sizzix because we need some hearts, because everybody needs extra hearts in their life, right? Well, let's get started. The first thing we're gonna do is easy peasy, just make our card base. That's all this is. It's just a square card base folded, cardstock folded in half, ready to go. That's the easiest part. But then, and I always like to say, the hardest part about any of the crafts that I do is picking out the pattern paper, because that's the hardest part. So once you have the pattern paper picked out, then you're ready to go and you can just create and have fun. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna create our foundation. Here's our card base, and we're just gonna add some pattern paper to it. And I've already pre-cut this. And we're just gonna lay this down just right there. Perfect. And then we're gonna cut out this blue part. Now the blue part, as I mentioned before, it has that special little extra piece in it. Now, I've already added my Sizzix adhesive on the back because I love Sizzix adhesive. And I'm gonna take my Big Shot machine, and here is a tip that I want you to always remember. How many times have you had a cutting pad and it's curved like this or even more? Maybe it's curved more like a bowl. I always call them the fruit bowls because sometimes they're curved a little too much. Well, you know what? Never again after you learn about the finger test. What's the finger test, right? Let me show you. I'm gonna put this in the machine and watch this cutting pad. See how it's moving? It should never move like that. That means I need to flip it over. Now, I'm going to cut into this until it's nice and flat. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue to do that test to make sure that inside does not go up and down like that. If it does that, then it's time to flip again. So you're gonna constantly be flipping. Eventually, you're gonna do the finger test without even thinking about it. It's gonna be kind of like driving when you don't realize you're already home. You're gonna just test it. And if it's moving, you're just gonna flip it. And then your cutting pads will never be curved again. You won't have a fruit bowl in your dining room anymore, but you'll have cutting pads that are flat. Perfect, right? Okay, so let's get started. So I've added my Sizzix adhesive to the back and I'm laying that down. And then I'm gonna get, ooh, look at all those little fun pieces, lots of extra pieces, which are really fun. I'm going to get out the frame die and I'm gonna lay this down. Of course, my blade is down towards the paper. And then I'm gonna take this other piece. Now this is what I call the magic square. The magic square is interesting because it has blade here, 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 no blade in this notch, blade here, 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 and again, no blade. Isn't that crazy? But there's a reason for that. We're gonna turn this over and we're gonna line this up. Now, of course, I'm using my magnetic platform because in all honesty, I don't feel like there's any other platform I'd ever wanna use unless I was embossing. Now, I have all of these options and I'm gonna show you, there are 4 options in here. I could use this one that has that fun hearts. That's the one we're really gonna use in the real life. But I have this fun one. Look how intricate that is. That is a flowers with the stems. Oh my goodness. Then we have the swirls and then we have flowers with leaves. So much fun. Now, if you were gonna use some of these more intricate dies, I highly recommend the Sizzix Precision Base Plate. That's a metal plate for those more intricate dies. But because we're just using a regular die today, we don't need to use that base plate. Now, I'm gonna take this die, blade down of course again, and I'm gonna drop it into those little notches, just like that. See how easy peasy that just drops in? Now, if you've ever watched any of my videos, you know I talk about the speed bump. It's human nature to want your die to go straight through the machine. See how I've lined it up and it's gonna go straight through the machine? But this roller is going to jump over those straight edges and it might not cut perfectly. So what I want to do is I want to tilt it ever so slightly. So now I'm going to get a nice, beautiful cut every time. Now I want to line up this inside piece to the outside piece a little bit better. Now that looks pretty centered to me, doesn't it? Okay, now we're going to take our cutting pad. Now I'm using a glitter cutting pad because they're so much fun. And people often ask me, why do you need a colored cutting pad? Well, the main reason, well, there's two reasons. The main reason is it's pretty. But the second reason is then you can find it on your table. How many times have you searched for 5 minutes looking for that cutting pad and you can't find it because it's clear, right? Okay, so now you can find this anywhere you are. It's always easy to find. So now I'm gonna take this out. We'll bring it over here so you can see. We're gonna take this out, and don't forget I have that Sizzix adhesive on the back. I don't have to worry about adding adhesive to this. Now I'm gonna have these little tiny, tiny baby chads. See that little chad right there? I'm simply going to pull it apart just like that. Pull that one apart just like that. Now, keep this in your scrap pile. The only scraps I keep have that Sizzix adhesive on the back. So we're gonna put this off to the side and save that for another project. Again, two little chads, one there, saving this because you know I could find something to do with that. Now, if you have a little tiny chad mark like that, you can just rub it with your fingernail, just like that, and it literally goes away. And this side barely even had anything at all. So now, and look at the cute little hearts. We could even poke all those with our fingernail just so we can see them. They are so cute. I love this. Now we have our frame. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna move this off to the side just a little because we have to cut out our You Are Loved. So I have my pink cardstock again with the Sizzix adhesive on the back. I'm gonna lay this down and I am gonna move all these dies over and I am going to get the You Are Loved 3D pop-up. Now remember, I originally designed this to be a 3D pop-up on the inside of your card, but we are gonna take just the You Are Loved part and add it to the front of our card. Now this would be perfect for scrapbooking as well, because then we can just put this as our title, You Are Loved. Isn't that a beautiful thing to say? Now we're gonna lay this down and we're gonna turn this a little bit. Also another tip I like to say is the smaller the die, the smaller the cutting pad. You don't see me using my great big huge monster for a little tiny die like this, because you know why? I'd be rolling that forever. I just want to get it through the machine. So I'm just going to lay this down and I'm going to use a smaller cutting pad so I have less rotations on the machine. Now all that cranking, all that cracking is all normal. That's the blade going through the cutting pad. Now at home, you only need to run that through once. But whenever I'm being videotaped or whenever I'm live TV, I always run it through twice because if it's going to go wrong, it'll go wrong on video. So now we're going to poke these out and we're going to get these out and let's see. There we go. We'll peel that up and look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? The little A's poked out too, don't worry. And then what we're gonna do is we're going to bring over our white square and we're gonna build the top of our card. So here we have our white square already cut out. We are going to grab this blue and peel off the backing. Dun, 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 look at this. And all those little extra hearts, we need to save them for something, right? So let's just even put it on this card because we wanna make sure we save all those hearts. And let's get this one off. Oh, it's stuck, there we go. And now what oh, there's another little heart. I'm gonna add them just, you know, have to add those. So now I'm gonna lay this down right here. Now to cut out that white square, I just used the largest square in this kit. Remember I talked about the magic square? Well, we're gonna use the bigger one and I just want you to see it. So remember to cut the blue, we use this one and this one. Well, now for the white, I just use this one, just so you know. And I cut that on there really, really crooked, but it's gonna be good enough. Oh, there we go, look. Peels off just a little bit. So we want to get that a little bit straighter on there. There we go. Now we're going to add our You Are Loved. So we'll take that and we're going to add our You Are Loved. Again, Sizzix adhesive on the back. Can you imagine trying to put our tape runner on the back of this little tiny piece? They're so thin, we don't want to have to do that. So we're going to lay this down, line up the loved first. You are loved. I love getting double duty out of all of my dies because then it just makes it feel like it's even more worth it, right? So we're gonna line that up. Look how pretty that is. And let's add some hearts. So now I've already cut out some hearts. Oh, and look, we gotta add this yellow. That's okay, don't worry. But see, this yellow needs to go back under there. So we're gonna peel this up and we're gonna add that yellow. I always like to say there's no such thing as a mistake in crafting because you can always just say, I meant to do that. So we're gonna peel that up and we're gonna add some adhesive. And I always like to have scratch paper under me when I add adhesive, but we'll just add some adhesive, just like this. I'm just adding some adhesive to this, and we're going to layer this right underneath. So I'm going to kind of pay attention to what I'm doing to make sure I get that right where it needs to be. Just like that. Look at that. We're just going to trim that off and lay that back down. Now we have the front of our cute little card. So now we need to add some ribbon before we put it on our card. So we're going to peel this up and add some ribbon right here, and we're going to tie a bow. Now, my mom is not a crafty woman at all, and she has only taught me one thing in life about crafting, and that's how to tie a bow. So let me show you really quick. So we're going to just tie the regular part the first way, right? We're going to make our little bunny ear or our little loop. Now, normally you go in the front to make your little loop, but what we're going to do to make our cute little bow is we're going to go in the back. We're going to fold it with our little thumb. Watch my thumb. I'm going to fold it, and I'm going to pull that through, and look at that, the perfect little bow. Am I right? That's right. It's beautiful. I love it. Now, we need to get some scissors to trim off our little legs, but look at how pretty that is. Now, just for fun, what we're going to do is we're going to add some little dots, because foam dots just really, really add to the excitement of your card. My husband, whenever he sees a flat card, he goes, oh, it's a flat card. He really likes the extra little pieces up. And they really do just add to the dimension, and they add to how much better your card is when you add a little bit of height to your card. So we're going to add a little bit there, and let's get our scissors, and we're going to actually trim this down real quick. So we'll trim that down. There we go, and we're going to trim this one down. Perfect. Look how cute. And let's trim that yellow down just a little tiny bit. Didn't get perfect. Look at that. So now what we're going to do, we have our little pop-up dots on the back, or our foam circles or foam squares, whatever you want to call them. We're going to peel those up, and then we're going to embellish. Peel those off, and we are going to lay that right in the center of our card, just like that. And then we have some cute little hearts that we need to add, because what did I say about hearts? You can never have too many. Everybody needs extra love in their life. And when we're talking about being loved, we definitely want to have some hearts, right? And here's a little epoxy we can just add on there, just like that. And then we're going to add our cute little other heart here. Just adding some adhesive. Add it like that. And to finish it off, we're going to add one more little tiny baby one on the top, and look at that. Now, was that the fastest, easiest card you've ever seen in your life, or what? Isn't that fantastic and adorable? And the person you give this to is going to know that they are loved. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for even more.